Hi, everybody. This is Kevin from The Kevin Lee Show, and I just wanted to welcome you to my podcast. And if you've been here before and you've heard my podcast and you're now returning, then I want to welcome you back to my podcast. I also wanted to take a quick moment just to touch base with you and talk to you about my website, which is thekevinleeshow.com. That's thekevinleeshow.com. And the reason why I wanted to mention it to you is it's kind of like a central hub of all my stuff. So if you're ever interested in either listening to my podcast, reading my blogs, watching my videos, or just checking me out on social media, you can find all the information and all the links right there. But without further ado, it's time for the podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it might be, wherever you may be. Welcome to The Kevin Lee Show. Alrighty, everybody. I just wanted to take a second here before I get going and apologize first off if my voice sounds a little scratchy or if I have to pause from time to time to take some water because where I live, it is springtime and my allergies are going a little haywire. Also, if you hear any little voices or banging or noises in the background, that's just my two little ones. So ignore them. And if it annoys you, sorry. Anyways, here's the blog. Where have all the writers gone? Writers everywhere and not a drop to drink. Maybe you're like me, a person that loves to read and write, but after searching the latest daily online offerings, you felt a little let down by the quality of the writing. Personally, I can get past all the typos, misspellings, missing words, double words, wrong words. 2. TOO means as well, people. Is it really that hard? Bad links, wrong links, missing links, etc. I could get past all of that if the content of what I was reading was worth, well, reading. But many times lately, it's not. Period. Of course, I will not name names, and I'm sure you can understand that I'm not stating that the majority of all writers fall into this category, but the number seems to be growing on a weekly, if not daily, basis. Also, whoever thought it was a good idea to let reporters publish without it being run by the editor first, or any editor for that matter, deserves a timeout in the corner. If these scribes are anything like me, they are writers, not editors, and therefore it's easy to miss even the most glaring and obvious mistakes. Writers write and those who can't edit. There, I said it. It's not necessarily the content of what people are writing or even at what reading level they are communicating at. I honestly believe that too many of us use big words in an effort to sound more intelligent. Stop it. It's not working. It turns people off and just makes you look pretentious. You're welcome. What is it then? It's how you tell the story. Many modern writers have a tendency of making two major mistakes. Either the writing is unfocused and all over the place, which we all are guilty of from time to time. That's why we have editors. Or we simply just write too much. Seriously. There is no reason that someone should publish a 7-page article if you can communicate an equivalent piece, and far more succinctly, I might add, in only 700 words. Same goes for people who like to write books that are 700 pages long when you could tell the same story in 70. Again, I'm not saying that you can't write longer pieces if you want to, and if it makes sense to do, just make sure that it's justified and that you're not merely writing for the sake of writing. Honestly, publishers are the primary offenders in this area. Often a person has written an article that's complete and fairly short, but then the publisher, or editor at the publisher, tells them, "That's great, now double it." And so, they put in the filler and essentially ruin a good piece of work. Furthermore, this happens with books all the time. Have you ever finished a novel and think to yourself, "Hey, that was a pretty good book, but man, it did have a lot of unnecessary crap in it"? It could have been half the length. Chances are it was at first. For this, you can thank the publisher. So, what can we and should we do about this? I'll give you a few quick tips. Number 1, stay focused. Whenever you sit down to write, have a goal in mind of what the story is that you're trying to tell, then stick to it. Unless, of course, inspiration strikes, then you must follow its lead. As a writer, never turn your back on inspiration. Number 2, when you're done writing, you're done. As a writer, you know when a piece or project is finished. It just has that feeling to it. It's unmistakable and needs to be respected. So when that moment strikes, heed the warning and obey. Of course, Your writing still needs editing, but that's it. Number 3, you're not following orders. Just because an editor or publisher says something doesn't mean that you have to do it. Could it be a good suggestion? Yes, of course. This is their business and they have a vested interest in helping your work succeed. Could their idea ruin your project or article? Absolutely. Like I said, it's their business, and since they have an interest in selling your words for profit, sometimes they'll apply their formulas to it, and this doesn't always work out for the best. What's the litmus test? Go with your gut. That's it. Your publisher or editor may betray you, but your gut won't. In closing, if you're a writer, I love you, and I want you to continue to write. If you're a bad writer, get better. And if you're a good writer, get better. We all have room for improvement. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Kevin.